to welcome you all to this webinar for paperless branch and teller operations with Automate. Welcome to yet another exciting series of webinars from the Automate team to showcase what's possible with the platform for financial services. Today's session is going to be taken up by Kamesh, who is our VP of Engineering, and he's going to take us through what is possible for paperless branch and teller operations with Automate's platform. Over to you, Kamesh. Please take us away. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ranjit. Thanks, Ranga, for that nice introduction. I'm going to start
And
sharing.
just to let you know, Kamesh, I'm going to be appraising you at the 20-minute mark so that we leave some time for Q&A.
Sure.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. So here we go. Okay. So thank you. Thanks, Ranga, for that introduction. And I've been watching the space for the webinars that we have held in the past, and it's been informative. What's more important is customers have walked up to me and said, hey, I want to do that, and I want to benefit. I want to take this benefit and apply it to my business. And that's the part of the webinars that we conduct, right? So welcome all for this webinar on paperless branch and teller operations. And as just all our webinars, we come up with this topic based on customers asking us to do some things. And then we believe that one customer doing it, maybe there will be a lot of learning for others to do as well. And therefore, we bring this webinars, like Ranga said. So what we'll cover is a short webinar. I mean, Ranga also said that one saying, hey, our webinars are short and sweet. Kamesh, I'll cue you in at 20-minute mark, so you ensure that your timing is right. So what we'll cover today is very will be focused on paperless branch banking, and we'll do a brief introduction of who Automate is, what we do, and then go out to actually understand what the paperless branch banking means. And after we speak, we also will do a small walkthrough of what we are working. I mean, what we are done for a customer, and then we'll take questions from you, and if you have any, right? Automate, who we are, we would like to believe we are an AI co-pilot for workflow automation. So we are the what we got is a low-code platform in which you could build workflows, and the workflows can be powered by AI, right? And which means you bring in the power of a workflow platform of multi-actor, multi-devices, multi-geography, if you will. The users can be in different places. And you also add AI element to it in terms of be able to provide a co-pilot or an AI agent to work as along shoulder to shoulder with humans in the workflow itself, right? And we have done several sessions with AI as a core theme, so I'll not delve deep on that. But what we have is a workflow platform that helps you deploy workflows in short time with greater security and so on, right? And who are using, right? And this audience this webinar is specially targeted at BFSI and banking segments, and this is what our customers accomplish with Automate, right? Every month we process 10 million or more transactions every month, issuing loans to the tune of $2 billion or so every month, right? And in the process, we do a lot of loan origination system and so on. So 5 million documents, which means a PAN, Aadhaar, driving license, voter ID, and so on, they get processed. And when they say they get processed, it's not about collection. It's about understanding what is in the document, whether it's a fake or not, ability to mask Aadhaar. Like, for example, the regulation says when you collect an Aadhaar, it should be masked. So we enable it at the API level so that you don't have to really bring in solutions and glue later. So collect at one point and then later mask the APIs. Some of them do that. But then what we enable in our platform is ability to mask it right at the gate when you collect it. And then thanks to all our customers who are fintech and regtech, the amount of scrutiny that our platform undergoes month on month is humongous, right? When we have huge number of customers, every customer who is mandated by RBI to perform an audit, perform an VAPT on the application, And our platform is safe to say our platform undergoes is the most thoroughly tested platform out there in the world, surely by virtue of number of users using it, number of tests that it has gone through, number of audits it has cleared, and so on, right? And proof of that, Google Cloud Marketplace carries us. If you can find us in our Google Play or Marketplace as well, the solutions are available on the marketplace, and so far we've processed more than $50 billion worth of loans and continuing, right? And that's a part of the platform. So you'll have the entire platform working for you and assuaging you of all your concerns, features, ability to integrate with any APIs that you have, ability to keep the regulator at bay and keep yourself compliant with the regulations that you have. And that's the banking platform that we have, that we bring to you. Right? And what kind of workflows run on this, right? One of the questions you might have is, say, okay, fine, Kamesh, what is the workflow? What are the workflows that I can look forward to? And we are a horizontal platform. When I say a workflow platform, you could imagine any workflow from leave applications to loan applications. You could do anything on that workflow platform, right? So how do you, what use cases our customers are using for it? Right at the center of the box, you see LOS or underwriting, and that's a major use case our customers use us for. But then there are customers who use this for CASA onboarding, where you collect the information about the customer, do the KYC, run the risk and KYC algorithms on the platform, and then onboard the customer as a customer, as a CASA customer, or as an right. Then you have collections, where different modes of collection, agent-driven collection, third-party collections, and all of that. The workflow for collections, some customers use this for the collections workflow. And co-lending, right? One of the things that we have when you have an LOS, you should be able to understand who will issue the loan, right? If you have multiple partners with whom you co-lend, then ability to bring the rules, run the rules, select the correct co-lending partner, and so on can be done efficiently with the platform, which means you could actually not only have your loan origination workflow, but also evaluate a set of external rules with the information that is collected so far, and then select the best co-lender and choose and direct it to them, right? So depending upon the co-lending parameters and here. Then, of course, we're going to talk about branch and teller automation today. And before we do branch and teller automation, we have enabled banks with the conversational banking. So which is basically an add-on, a bolt-on to the app that the banks issue. But then what it does is it kind of makes those apps supercharged by providing conversational interface to the app itself, right? So I mean, I know I have a bank account, I have multiple bank accounts, and how I interface with my app is to go get things done, right? I go pay somebody. I want to know whether I got some money in, and so on and so forth. But then the app does not give me much to do. It doesn't give me trends to analyze, or if I have a random question of how much I spend on food, it's not available on the app, right? It does not give. Maybe I can download, request for a statement, get it on an email, put it on an Excel, and then analyze. But then what we have done with conversational banking, enabling conversational banking, is the same information that is available in the app and the bank's backend, we put a conversational interface on top and make all of the data about the customer accessible for the customer in a query in a conversational way. So he could come and say, hey, how much did I spend on food? And then we are able to figure out, yep, in your credit card, you spent now about 5,000 rupees worth on food last month, and so on and so forth, right? So that's something which you do. And that's a part of the platform. But today what we're going to do is go in and talk about branch operations and how we are going to work with the branch operation and make it paperless. So one of the things is paper-based systems have served us well. No questions about that, right? The foundational pillar of banking has been the branch and the relationship that the people in the branch have built with the customer. No questions asked about that. And then what you want to do is take a step back and understand the challenges that are available in the paper-based system, right? So as I walk into the bank, right, each one of us do this transaction, have done this transaction once or twice or many times, even though the number of times you walked into a branch could be zero. I'll not be surprised if it is zero for many of us in the last 1 year, right? Apart from doing these projects, I haven't walked into banks ever. So, but then what happens is when you walk into the branch, the customer has to make a choice. He has to look at why did I come to the bank? I wanted to withdraw. So you'll have to go figure out from assorted slips that are lying out there, figure out the deposit slip, pick the deposit slip. So cognitive load on figuring out what should I pick and what should I fill. And once I fill this form in, I go and give it to the teller, and the teller collects it. There is a thing, and he kind of gives me back a token saying, hey, go wait there. You are in queue and you'll be called. And as I wait there, my number comes in, I go to the teller, he gives me the cash, and he also stamps the withdrawal slip and gives me a copy to hold. Right? And in all this, what happens is, because a transaction has happened on my account, the teller has to enter into the core banking system. And for the core banking system, a transaction that has happened, this collateral of a voucher needs to be present. And the banks are mandated to keep this voucher for a number of years, like 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years, depending upon the type of the voucher and the value of the transaction itself. Now, manual handling and storage of vouchers is humongous task, and ability to retrieve them at a later point in time is even harder, right? And the cost of storage goes up. As far as large national banks go, the cost of storage also shoots up. And more importantly, as manual steps are involved, there is an audit and compliance risk, right? And how do you audit? So any decent sized bank would have hundreds of thousands of transactions per day happening over the branches all over the nation. And how would they actually do audit? Whether every transaction here has a corresponding transaction in the corresponding challan, right? And how do you prevent untoward incidents or security incidents from happening? So these are the challenges that the banks face today. And one of our customers whom we are working with has switched on to something called a paperless branch banking. And what do they do is the subject of our topic today. At the core of it is we eliminate the papers that is lying around for the customer to fill, right? So when a customer walks in, he's presented with a kiosk in which it could be a tab, it could be a pass around tab in the thing, or a nice kiosk, like standalone kiosk like the one that is depicted here. But then essentially what it provides is ability to identify the customer, ability to choose the customer's intent in terms of why did he come to the branch. Now, all services that can be provided by the bank and teller can be provided by the intent can be collected by the kiosk itself, right? It could be withdrawal, it could be fixed deposit, it could be cash deposit, it could be check deposit. The intent can be captured right at the kiosk itself, and verifications done. Now, at the teller desk, there is a slight modification. Normally, you see a teller and a window, but then here you will also have a tab for the customer, because we want to be able to do secure transactions. And I'll briefly explain what secure transactions are. We will do a face match of a customer. We will have send the consent information so that customer can consent for the transaction that's happening. For example, if one good use case could be assuming a customer walks in for an FD and he wants to compare tenures, or he wants to compare two different FD products and so on. So the teller can push the comparison chart to the tab, and then we have that available for customer to view, so that he takes a decision based on the comparison he sees, right? We could enable customers with information, and that could be shared with the customer tab that is present there itself. Now, the concept is simple. We eliminate papers. By eliminating papers, we eliminate the compliance processes that are aligned to it. Of course, we'll do a different compliance process, but then that is can be automated, and we could actually have 100% compliance, right? So I'm going to briefly show you the demonstration of how this would work with an fictitious bank, which is maybe a bank or so on, right? When the customer walks in, he sees, hey, the kiosk greets him and says, hey, okay, let's get started. Now with the mandate that the banks have identified that all accounts are mapped to a bank, so you have a phone number that would be collected, and then you can go back and look up as to who the customer is and what his interfaces are. Right? So we collect an OTP, we send it to the specific registered number, collect the OTP from the customer, and this is to verify that this is the customer who has walked into the branch, right? And then provide him with an options that he wants to choose. Now we could do a cash withdrawal or fixed deposit, other services. For this purpose of this demo, we'll do a cash withdrawal, right? And you could enter the withdrawal amount. So he's expressed his intent. So he's filled in challan, so to say, but then just that the challan is not a paper, but the intent is captured. Essentially the challan, what the challan captures is the intent for the customer, what he wants to accomplish at the branch, and we have already done that. And we have also issued him a token, which we have sent it to his mobile number as well. and which is basically here. And interestingly, we also identified that the customer is Rohan Patel. And they say, hey, Rohan Patel, your token is 12. Please wait your turn while our agent will call you or a teller will call you, right? So he could go back and at this point in time, it's not filled in any form, no paperwork yet, right? On the teller screen, what you see is you see the queue. You see the queue here. Rohan Patel is 12. There are other customers who have already come in there and waiting, and he's the one that needs to be served. So we pick him, and initially, the teller needs to be doubly sure that he or she is serving Rohan Patel, right? And how do you do that? You initiate what we call a smart verification. The smart verification is initiated by the agent and say, okay, fine, let me verify now if the customer who is who he claims to be, right? So, and push this to the customer tab that is present to the teller, and the customer is challenged to enter the token number, and he enters the token number 12, verify and continue. But then 12 is visible on the token display system as well. So how do you ensure that it is Rohan Patel? Is we actually initiate a face match. Now, when I do a face match, I actually say not only that this is the customer, I'm positively verifying with the face that this is the customer who's walked in, and capture a selfie there. So he could actually share, once we capture the selfie, now we go back with the image that we already have on the bank and the selfie that is captured, we do a face match, right? And when the faces match is when we say, hey, we have done a positive identification of the customer, and the teller can proceed. At this point in time, the teller has got a screen saying, hey, okay, fine, this customer is verified. Go ahead and proceed and give him this. So if you look at the teller screen now, it's kind of different, right? It's kind of different in the sense it provides a face match done. So which is basically verified that the face that we got from the live match and the face that we have in the ID are the same. And then the address that we got from the ID and the address that we have on the bank is the same. So both the comparisons are done. The customer is positively identified. And now for the transaction, right, this is the transaction that is coming, right? Again, we need to be able to confirm and securely do business. This bank wanted to actually confirm right before the transaction is executed, before the teller hands over the cash withdrawal. We also have an integration planned. Right now, we have not done it, but we have an integration planned with an counting machine, cash counting machines, which has an API exposed, so that when the teller puts in the cash for the withdrawal in the counting machine, we automatically keep track of the counting the cash in the system, right? So for that teller counter, what is the cash that has gone out? And when he collects the cash and puts it in the counting machine, we also collect the number of notes that has come in, so that we also always keep track of the cash that has gone out, and along with the denomination, the cash that has come back in, so that at the end of the day, you account for the cash that is given to the teller itself. Now, at this point in time, the teller says, okay, let me do one confirmation and proceed. Right? So when we say confirmation and proceed, we again go back and ask a secret question now at the tab, and the customer has to enter that, so that we could actually identify that this is the customer. He enters is the date of birth in the format that we want, and confirm and proceed. So what we have done so far is the customer has walked into the branch, given his intent for withdrawal. We collected the intent, we queued him to a teller, we gave him a token number to actually work on it, and came back. We did a positive verification or a smart verification, in the sense we did twofold verification, one with the identification document, the image of the customer and the image that is there in the identity document. We also verified the address. We also verified that this is the customer who has come in here, and along with the transaction. At this point in time, all things that we have, including the receipt, has been sent to the customer. Transaction is successfully done. So that's a brief demo of how you could do a cash withdrawal system or reimagine cash withdrawal system that we have implemented for a bank, and eliminated paper completely from the system.
Kamesh, are you there?
We did not have, I'm not sure when I got disconnected. I think it had a brief blip. So I'll continue from here in this transaction. Hope it's fine.
Sure. And you're at the 20-minute mark, so you have 10 minutes. We could just leave 5 minutes aside. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we are chaos-based transaction. From what we demonstrated, we saw we could get rid of the paper-based system. We the entire reconciliation process. Now, if a challan was there, however, there is a matching challan with an entry at the transaction that happened in the branch, that reconciliation process is completely eliminated. And in the bargain, what we introduced was a secure, seamless customer experience at the branch. And so the customer is always happy, right? So that's the advantage of having a paperless branch automation or operation system itself. I'm done. If you have any questions so far, let's discuss.
Sure. Does the audience have any questions? You could probably go. Going once, going twice. Okay, we have a question. Is there any solution from Autonome to check if every transaction in the branch has a corresponding challan? Kamish?
Every transaction. Yeah, okay. One of the interesting that you asked it, I'm not sure who it is. We actually work with an national South leading bank in South India to do 100% reconciliation. So what you've done or what we are doing is ability to take all this transaction which is scanned, right? As the vouchers, as the transaction happened on this day, the next day what the branch does is scan all those vouchers and upload it to the document management system. And what we do is read it from the document management systems, split it into individual transactions, and verify with the core banking that that is a corresponding record. So we do OCR on the slip, voucher handwritten paper. So and we do extract key elements like the CBS transaction ID, the amount, the date, and so on, and then match it with the transaction logs that we have and figure out that whether it's matched or not. And at the end of the day, what we provide is a comprehensive dossier on the vouchers that are matched with CBS system and vouchers, the CBS system transactions which do not have vouchers and vouchers which we do not have a matching entry or so on, right? So we kind of comprehensively do that. Yes, we have a solution for that. And that works based on a large language model. And we use that OCR and LLM to actually put it to good use. That's a great question. I think transition from an paper-based system to a paperless system, how do you actually, is there an intermediary way of doing reconciliation is the question. We do have a solution for that, yes.
Great, great. I think we have a question on the chat as well. Is there any possibility to validate the ID during the walk-in like Aadhaar or PAN?
Yes. See, but the plan work, what we have done is one of the things, fundamental element of the how we assemble business processes is based on workflows, right? And the workflow steps or the entire workflow business process is broken down to discrete steps. And you could add a step or remove a step based on our processes itself, our what we want as our process. So if a process mandates that we need to do a PAN verification with NSDL or Aadhaar with Karza API or fetch Aadhaar details from the API and do it, or even redirect to DigiLocker or so on, we could do that. So we could bring in your APIs for verification, or we could use any standard third-party APIs if you have for verification. Not only on PAN and Aadhaar, but we could do any kind of verification, like if you have an API for that.
Sure. I think that segues into the next question well, because I think one of the attendees had asked if, for some services, if you have in-house APIs, can the solution integrate that too? But I believe these would be internal APIs rather than external, Kamish.
Yeah, I mean, as long as an API endpoint, I mean, if I understand the question right, I think what the question asks is, can you take an API from our stable and integrate it into the workflow that we want, right? If that be the case, yes, we can. We can use any APIs you have. It could be your in-house APIs or a third-party API that service providers have. Or it could be account aggregator, could be bank statement analysis, could be Sybil or whatever. Right? We can the AI platform provides you a mechanism in which you could stitch in any API in the workflow.
Awesome. And I think we have answered. Okay, there's just one more question. Can we modify the flow? I think this is mainly for authentication and for the operational flow, I guess. I think that's what they meant.
Okay. So yeah, see, we are a workflow organization. So the workflows that we build are specifically for the processes that we have, you have, right? The customer brings in a work process, and the workflow that we build is will model the process the customer has. So we don't impose and process that we have built. We will not give you the chaos solution and the teller solution directly into it and say, hey, go ahead and implement it without knowing what your processes are, even though they are standard. But what we'll do is work with you and understand how you want it structured, and we will work with you to customize the workflow. So workflows are customizable, and in fact, we recommend that you bring the process, and we will give you the canvas, and jointly you and I can, the customer and Automate can paint the process in the canvas that we provide to you, and in a
Correct.
short time.
And I'm absolutely. And I think we will probably just also like to gently remind the audience that although it might seem that most of our solutions are purpose built for financial institutions, which they are, it's easily extensible for any type of organization too. And the experience that you see here is easily flexible for any organization or dev team to be able to take advantage of because of the flexibility it offers with no code operations. I don't think we have any more questions. I'm probably going to ring it like a game show, going once, going twice. Okay, looks like we're sold. But I think this probably brings the webinar to an end, and with 3 minutes to spare. If there are any more questions which we have not answered in time for the session, feel free to just reply to the webinar invite email. Every attendee will get a chance to look at the recording, whether they were able to grab the webinar session live or not. And if you have any questions, just respond on top of that email, and we'd be happy to do it for you. If you feel that you have a bespoke requirement for branch and teleoperations, which you feel we did not cover in this session, we would be happy to organize a tailor-made demo for you and have a conversation from that point. With that, I think, Kamesh, thank you so much for your time and taking us through this walkthrough. We will be returning with more webinars on other capabilities that the platform has to offer. And hopefully we see all of you there. Yeah, thank you so much and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.